Good evening, all sim racing fans. Welcome to E-BaTCC round 3. The site you see on your screens is Estonian track of Porsche Ring, formerly also known as Auto 24 Ring or Auto Ring. It is actually situated on the outskirts of Estonian town of Pärnu. 3,172 meters is the length of the track, and as you can see, Janis Hans, who has been the poleman during two previous rounds, is leading the qualification, but only just. His gap to second place, Tauras Tunyla is less than 1/10. Then there is a little bit larger gap to third and fourth, which are both Estonian drivers, Risto Kappet and Urmas Riis. Talking about the standings of the series, as I told, it's third round, and Janis Hans, a German driver, is the leader. He has 114 points. Risto Kappet, who was the overall winner of round one, has 109 points. And Lithuanian driver Simonas Urbonas is currently third overall with 89 points. So we can say that top two are a little bit further. They have quite a healthy gap to third place driver. But Janis has won both race ones during both our meetings, but he was hit with penalties during race two in first and second round, so he has lost several places and several points. And last time out, he also lost the overall victory for round two. And thus Urmas Riis, who is currently seventh overall, was the winner last time out when we raced at the Finnish track of Botnia Ring. Riis is currently seventh, as I told, but he didn't participate in round one, so he can climb several places during this meeting as well. But of course, looking at his overall chances, they are not so good. But he is now fourth, and you can see that there are three Estonian drivers in top six, while during previous two sessions of E-BaTCC there were very rarely Estonian drivers taking part in it, but this time, this year or this season, there is a kind of invasion, and lots of Estonians are now racing in E-BaTCC, and you can see that some of them are really strong. Actually, Estonian drivers have won both rounds. First round in Riga Pikerneki and second round at Botnia Ring. But concerning the qualification, there is only 15 seconds left, and now Simonas Urbonas climbs to fourth. It would give him a second row at the starting grid, and it seems that yes, now check flag is out. Urmas Riis could have a go. He's still on his fast lap. But can he beat Urbonas? There are gaps, of course, very small. But it seems that Riis has now completed his final lap. This is Tauras Tunyla Matiss. He's still on the track and underway. Maybe he has some chances to beat Janis because the gap is really narrow between top two, just under 1/10 of a second. Tunyla just goes here on the main straight, few hundred meters left, but no, he couldn't beat Janis. So Janis is the poleman third time in the row, and will start race one from the pole position. Tauras Tunyla Matiss will take P2 at the starting grid. Second row will be Risto Kappet and Simonas Urbonas. Third row, Urmas Riis and Davis Pite. Fourth row, Silver Piirmets and Georgian driver Nika Kobosnitsa, who is also on quite a good position overall, 6th actually. And then 5th row will be all Latvian, Richards Šubetskis and Karlis Ozoliņš, and so on and so on. Actually, I should mention that Haroldas Jotautas, who is currently P8 in standings, will start only from 12th, and Paul August Lääne, who is P5 overall, will start from 7th row, from 14th place. So they will have some work to do during race 1. Race duration will be 20 minutes, and probably it means the distance will be 17 laps, or even no, or 16 maybe, rather 16. Lap times are a little bit less than 1 minute and 30 seconds, and it correlates quite well with real life lap times. I'm not exactly sure, but the lap record should be 1:29 something, and actually it's in real life, but the actual lap record holder is Karlis Jovaisa, who was season 1 winner in E-BaTCC. So he is now racing in real life and very well. Actually, he was a B80cc champion in BMWs this year. Now everything is ready for race 1, 24 cars. As usually, we have more than 24 cars, but 24 are in Division 1, which you see here. Then we have also race in Division 2, and last time during round 2 we had even 3rd division on the track. So about minute or a little bit more still to go. Janis and Tauras Tunyla, and so on and so on. Point system is such that all 24 starters will get points in Division 1. Winner takes 40 points, 24th will take 1 point. In Division 2, top 10 are awarded with points. And of course, in the overall classification, points from all divisions are counted. So is it Nimt standing on the pole position? I think his car used to be a little bit different, but it should be. So now everything is ready. Lights will be go on in few seconds, and race 1 will be started. And here we go. Turn 3 is the most crucial. Now cars are in turn 1, now turn 2, and turn 3 is that sharp right-hander. Timks keeps his lead in front of Kudinavicius and Capet. Urbonas is 4th, he is 5th. There are those two violet cars. It's very difficult to understand which one is which, but our standings show that Urbonas is currently in front of Rees, P4 and P5. Meanwhile, Limts and Kudinavicius are already running away from Capet, as they did during round 1 at Riga Pikerniki. And they stayed together through the whole 20 minutes. But of course, it was a very different race, very different track. And Buckmakers are also battling fiercely between themselves. well. Only 3 turns remaining, and then the first lap will be completed. And you see that Nimts and Kudinavicius has put more than 1 second free track between themselves, and Capet in third, and Kudinavicius into final turn shows himself to Nimts, but they both run very wide. Actually, there is so-called concrete grass at the verge of the track, so nothing happens. It has very good grip. And let's see if Kudinavicius can do something. Maybe a little bit better acceleration out of turn 3, but it doesn't help this time. Now on the second straight, and the next turn, turn 6, is the first of the complex of 4 turns, the most crucial on this track, because very long full throttle sections follows. Now they go out of turn 8 and 9, and Kudinavicius got a little bit better exit. Here is the view from his car. Turn 10 is easy flat for every car almost, and Kudinavicius now is side by side into turn 11. It's the best overtaking spot of the track, but Nimts goes outside, keeps his position, but only just. So it was first attack, I would say, from Kudinavicius, and I'm sure it will be not the last one. Now penultimate turn 14, so-called pond turn, and it is also potential overtaking spot as well. But Kudinavicius stays in the wake of Nimts. Capet is now already 2.5 seconds behind Kudinavicius. Unbelievable how fast those leading two are going. Capet on pole of 3s, Peter Kobosnice, and so on. Oh, there is big angle of cars around top 10 positions. Well, there was little skirmish, but everybody stayed on the track. And these are the leaders. Nimts still in front of Kudinavicius. Just 2 tenths are separating them, but actually it's not important how many tenths. They are basically together. Kudinavicius is repeating everything what Nimts is doing in front of him, but there is a contact between them, and Kudinavicius goes by, and he stay there because Nimts had much better acceleration out of turn 11. But yes, Kudinavicius is the new leader in front of Nimts, but I'm sure that Nimts has other ideas. He will try desperately to jump Kudinavicius as fast as possible, and in the process you can see what happened to pursuers. Basically they lost top 2. Kudinavicius and Nimts lost about 1 second to Capet. There is another contact into turn 3, and this time Nimts goes by. He is on the inside now, and actually on the outside you saw what is another characteristic of this track, that when you go outside out from turn 3 you can stay in front. Now Nimts is putting huge pressure to Kudinavicius, and it means that Capet, Urbono 3s and Peter, all they close in with every turn. Best overtaking spot of the track, turn 11. This time Nimts is on the outside. Kudinavicius left him some space, but not too much. And now Nimts can be in front into the penultimate turn. He's on the inside. Can he outbrake Kudinavicius? Yes, he can. Kudinavicius goes wide, but they are still side by side. And through the final turn, it's the same. And Nimts gives space to Kudinavicius, and you see Capet is now already with them. Nimts and Kudinavicius have lost all their advantage over Capet, which was almost 3 seconds just 2 laps ago. But now Capet, I think he almost touched the back bumper of Kudinavicius' car. And this comes from Capet onboard camera. Is Capet laughing third? Of course, those two in front, they must now work together, cooperate to repeat what they did during the opening 2 laps. And just left Capet behind. But of course, Kudinavicius, who was second, has all the ideas. And trying outside into turn 11, but he was much too fast, and he's almost losing his place to Capet now. Nimts in front has some breathing space, but Capet has Urbonas who at his rear bumper. Now he must cover his line, and Urbonas runs a little bit wide out of turn 14. And it all means that Nimts has managed to set fast lap enough. And Kudinavicius is now some 7. Oh, Rees was very late on the brakes and almost hit Urbonas from back into turn 3. But yes, Nimts has a lead of almost 8 tenths over Kudinavicius now. And it tends to increase. Meanwhile, Capet has his hands full of Urbonas. And Rees has caught Urbonas once again after his mishap into turn 3. But does it mean that Nimts is now gone for Kudinavicius? It may mean that, because the gap is fluctuating, but being more or less 8 or 9 tenths of a second. And while Kudinavicius also has a free run, means that Capet is falling away from him. And this is Urbonas trying to attack Capet into turn 14. They're side by side, and Rees is also looking what is going to happen into turn 15. And what is going to happen is that Urbonas can lose his 4th place to Rees, because Rees is on the inside for the next turn. No, Rees backs off from this situation. They collide. They collide, and I guess that Capet was also hit slightly. But now Rees is in front of Urbonas. But again, I'm not able to tell you which car is which. Those two violent BMWs. And Davis Pitte is very close behind them, and now he will benefit perhaps from that contact. Because yes, Rees lost 1 place after that collision between turns 6 and 7. Davis Pitte went by and is now 5th. Meanwhile, gap between Nimts and Kudinavicius has stabilized at 9 or 8 tenths of a second. Their lap times are virtually identical. And this is battle for 10th, Haroldas Jotautas. And is it Paul August Lääne? No, it's Karlis Ozolinš. Jotautas is in front. And there is Janis Straupe as well in that dark grey car in P12 currently. Paul August Lääne is in front of them by 1.5 seconds already. So Straupe got a spin. He's spinning onto the grass on the main straight and losing several positions in the process. Actually, it was a very common mistake drivers are doing. Out of final turn, there is negative camber, and if you are battling with somebody even the slightest contact there may send you off track onto the grass and lose you a lot of time. Leader Jan Nimts now almost a second in front of Tauras Tunyla. Risto Capet has been third from the very beginning and he's staying there. Now the gap between him and fourth placed Simonos Urbonavicius is more than 1 second, and it means that Capet can keep his ideal racing line. No need to defend the line. 8 minutes remains. 8 minutes out of 20 still remains until E-BaTCC round 3 race 1 finish. And I would say that duel between Jan Nimts and Tauras Tunyla is still not finished. Although what we have seen during the previous 2 rounds, once Nimts is in front, he is untouchable. Although I should say that the challenge Tunyla set up this time was much more serious than during previous 2 rounds. Andris Lisans and Romet Reisin are now battling here from the 15th position. Both are also real-time racers. And into turn 6 and 7. Reisin goes inside, but spins off onto the grass. And it is very costly mistake. Was there a contact, or maybe he spun on his own? It's difficult to say from this angle, but that complex turns 6, 7, 8 and 9, it's a very, very tricky, and it's very easy to make a mistake even without any helping hand from outside. Tunyla still in second, and he can't close the gap to Nimts. It is exact copy from race 1 at Pikerneki. Also, okay, not exact, because there Tunyla stayed behind Nimts for the whole duration of race 1. This time they swapped positions several times, and eventually, as you can see, Nimts took P1, which belonged to him at the start. But Tunyla is not giving up for sure. Onboard view from Tunyla car. Now going through turn 12. Turn 13 is a slight left kink here. Actually, you don't notice it when you are driving, be it on the real track or here in the simulator. Now through turn 14 and final turn, and then onto the main straight. And you can see that both Nimts and Tunyla go very wide exiting final turn, but it's okay. Actually, it's even faster way than staying on the tarmac. No changes here, and no changes in top 6 at all. Capet is now almost 4 seconds behind Tunyla. It seems that this will remain until the finish. 4.5 minutes still to go in race 1. But Urbonas is closing in steps by step to Capet, and looking at Pitt and Rees, they are also separated by less than 1 second. So that group may set up a battle for final few laps. And when leaders will comes the time incline next time, there will be 3 more laps. Not a lot, but still, if you are thinking about not making mistakes, then it's very, very long. And now Kudinavicius runs really wide, exiting final turn onto the grass with his left side wheels, but car stays under his control, although he lost 2 or 3 tenths to Nimts. Fortunately for Kudinavicius, Capet is a long way behind, so no danger from there. But concerning the lower end of top 10, Haroldas Mistautas has now caught Paul-August Lääne. There they are, Lääne in front, Mistautas just behind him, going through turn 7. Turns 7 and 8 actually are quite heavily banked, and it gives you the possibility of several lines. And it also gives you a possibility to overtake your rival there. Oh, it's Bitte in the yellow car and Rees in the violet one, and this was certainly a bump from Rees, bumping your rival and overtaking him after that. It's not a good practice for sure. And Rees may get some sanctions from the stewards later, but we will see. What is certain, they have now let Capet and Urbonas in front of them, and Rees runs wide into turn 3. And does it give Bitte a chance to retaliate? Not quite. But only 1.5 minutes to go. It means 2 more laps. So cars are now on their penultimate lap. And we have actually 3 pairs battling. Although Nimts and Kudinavicius are no more battling, there is a gap of 1.5 seconds between them. But Capet must be very careful with Urbonas, and Rees must be very careful with Bitte. Certainly those two running second in those pairs want to try something before the finish of race 1. But let's see if they can do something. Richard Trubetskis is clearly in 7th, Nika Kobosnitsa in 8th, and then Paul-August Lääne and Haroldas Mistautas are disputing the last 2 positions in top 10. And final lap has begun for top 6 already. No changes there, although Urbonas is closing in under braking into turn 3. But on the other hand, Capet has much better exit. So Urbonas couldn't do anything against Capet. Let's see what happens in the complex. Jan Nimts, the leader, has just half a lap to go. Turn 10, which is fast left-hander. Easy flat, as I told. Capet and Urbonas come next, and then Rees and Bitte. So Rees is now clearly in front of Bitte. There is no battle anymore between them, but what happens with Capet Urbonas remains to be seen. Here is Jan Nimts. Only 2 more turns to go. And then 3rd time in a row, Jan Nimts will be a winner in race 1. And here he comes out of the final turn. Checkered flag is out, and Jan Nimts has taken the victory in front of Tauras Kudinavicius. Risto Capet comes home 3rd in front of Simonos Urbonas. Davis Peter will be 5th in front of Urmas Rees. I didn't see, but I suspect that Rees maybe just gave that place away, and Paul August Lääne in 9th stays in front of Haroldas Mistautas. There was another pair, Karlis Osolins in 11th and Karlis Markiavicius in 12th, who are battling through the race until the final lap. And what is here? Here we see 6 cars in one go, and it was Janis Traupe, I suspect, who went off of final turn second time and losing several positions in the process. He finished only 19th. And here we go, 24 cars at the start. 14 laps actually, not even 15 was the race distance, and according to my data, all 24 cars completed 14 laps. Anyway, now we will have just a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes of break, and then we will return with our comments for race 2. Stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the E-BaTCC round 3. The second race for BMW 325 Cup will start in less than 2 minutes. Cars are already on the grid, and Haroldas Mistautas will start from the pole position with Paul August Lääne in P2, because as the regulations state, The starting grid for race 2 will determined by the finishing results from race 1, except top 10 will be reversed. So our winner from race 1, Janis, starts from 10th, and during 2 previous rounds he has not managed to win 2 races in the row. So let's see what he can do today. Of course, this is a very competitive field. There are lots of fast drivers. So to start from P10th and go all the way up to the lead, it's not easy. You must make a very good start and stay out of trouble. So we have now lights on first, second, third, and so on, and our poleman is missing. So Paul Augustana, who starts from second, is now the leader. Can he keep his lead through turns 1, 2, and 3? Lana is in front, and he gets hit from behind. And does it mean he is going to lose his lead? No, there is, wow, some like a pinball game. So Paul Augustana still is leading in front of Richard Šubeckis and Tavis Pitte and Risto, and those two Latvians are colliding on the back straight, and Risto Kapet was already fourth, at least for a moment. There is another multi-car collision, and who is this going out? It seems it was Nika Koposnitsa. Wow, how many collisions during few first turns only. First race actually was quite a correct one, but it seems that drivers now thought, okay, we were very polite first time out, now let's compensate for it. Oh no, it's not a good thing. Anyway, Paul Augustana in front of Richard Šubeckis. They are in front of third place man Tavis Pitte. The gap is more than second, and here is Šubeckis already attacking Lana and taking the lead while exiting turn 1, but now Šubeckis is running a little bit wide, but still keeps his lead, and Lana is now under attack from Tavis Pitte. And he's on the inside, but going to lose his P2. Is he? Yes, he is. And someone is running over the grass into turn 3, and it means a disaster. There was certainly collision, and you see that Lana somehow managed to wrestle back his P2, and this is Capet coming. No, he's not. It was Pitte who went into turn 6 very fast and somehow managed to stay on the track and even gain one position. Meanwhile, Capet is already under attack from Kudinavicius. Then there is Urbonas and Nimts in 7th. So Nimts has not made a quick progress during the first 1.5 laps. But now there was perhaps a little bit contact between him and Urbonas in front. All in all, Richard Šubeckis has managed to escape from his rivals. Paul Augustana is still in second, now under another attack from Tavis Pitte, but Pitte this time loses out, exiting the final turn, and now Risto Capet and Tauras Kudinavicius are almost on his sides. And Nimts has lost one more position to Urmas Riis. So Nimts is now 3 abreast into turn 6. Actually, it is possible to overtake here from outside, but Lana gives no chance to Pitte. Meanwhile, Kudinavicius and Capet bang doors once again, and then there is Riis already joining the party as well, as is Kudinavicius. There is a big angle of cars, and of course Šubeckis is in front of them. Piston is just smiling and telling himself, go on, guys. Keep battling, keep battling. It's very good for me. Here good of two Lithuanians, Urbanavicius in that green and black car, and then Urbonas in that first violet car. Rees is in the second violet car, and then there is Nimts in P8. Meanwhile, Beta is attacking Lane once again, umpteenth time already. He has several times managed to put his nose in front, but Lane is on the outside. Beta has been demon entering turn 6, but oh, Lane is even more demon. Can he keep his place? And yes, he can. And Bita ran wide, and Capet was just expecting it and just went by. And Kudinavicius uses the same opportunity and will go by as well. So Bita, instead of getting second, has now dropped to 6th already. But Lana is seriously lacking the pace. More than that, he now runs wide once again and still somehow stays in front of Capet and Kudinavicius, but now Kudinavicius is side by side with Lana going into turn 12. Capet is sideways, losing some positions. Oh, it's even difficult to say who is where, but I can tell you that Nimts is now acting very cleverly. He's trying to just stay out of trouble. He's not attacking anybody, but saying that he's going to overtake Peter into turn 3 without risking, and Peter goes wide, so he's going to lose at least one more position. So Nimts is now 7th, but will not have an easy life because Karlis Ozolinj is just a few meters behind him. Meanwhile, Paul August Lane still in second. How on earth can he do it? He's seriously lacking the pace, but putting his car very cleverly on the track. He has not given chance to anybody. And you saw what happened to Davis Peter, who tried to overtake Lana for several laps. Now Peter is down in 9th, but this time I'm sure Kudinavicius has got what he wanted. Or is he? There is a contact in turn 12. And yes, Kudinavicius is now firmly in second. But what happens to Lana? He's going to lose another position, maybe even several positions, because now Urbonas is already in front of him, Rees just behind him, then Capet and then Nimts. And Shubetskis is far away in front. Wow, that was Lana hitting Urbonas quite hard into turn 3. And that is, I'm sure, we'll see some attention from stewards. Lana is back in that fight, behind Capet, in front of Nimts. But Nimts in that process has gained another position. He is now 6th, which I think it's quite good for him. Kudinavicius, of course, is 2nd, so Nimts must gain 1 or 2 places. There is more than Lana runs wide into turn 11, and it means that Nimts goes by almost without any battle. But at least Lana now stays on the rear bumper of Nimts. Whoa, turn 30, no, turn 14. It was not Richard Szubeckis, I think it was Karlis Ozolinš who spun there and created a very dangerous situation for cars coming from behind. Meanwhile, Urmas Riis and Risto Kapet in third and fourth, and seems that Riis is now able to escape from the attention of Kapet, who in turn keeps Nimts behind him. But the speed we saw from Nimts in race 1 tells me that there may be not an easy life for Kapet for the second half of the race. Meanwhile, this is Simonos Urbonas trying to defend his P7 from Karlis Markiavicius and Simonos Urbonas. And this is Janis Straupe in 9th already. So that trio is Urbonas, Markiavicius, Straupe. And what happened here? We didn't see it, but the fact is that Jan Nimts is now in 4th in front of Risto Kapet. And for sure he's now going to catch Urmas Riis and trying to overtake him. I think Gudinavicius is already gone. And Gudinavicius, looking at Gudinavicius' lap time, and this Gudinavicius has just set the fastest lap of the race. And does it mean he's going to catch Richard Szubeckis? I don't think so, because the gap is almost 4 seconds. And even if Gudinavicius is going to take back a second per lap, it will be very difficult for him. But generally Gudinavicius has been only half a second or maybe 6/10 faster. And here is that quartet of Riis, Nimts, Kapet and Lääne, P4 to P6. And clearly the fastest man among those four is Nimts in P4. And now he's lining up Riis for an overtaking maneuver. Looking at their lap times last time around, Nimts was full half a second faster than Riis, so it may be really difficult for Riis to keep his P3 against Nimts. Exiting the final turn, let's see. Turn 1 actually starts right here under the gantry, then this little flick onto the right is here, turn 2, and now turn 3. And Riis runs wide, and does it give position to Nimts? Not yet. But the gap is now non-existing. Less than 1 car length. They're taking a little bit different lines through the complex. And I would say that Riis was even a little bit faster through that sequence of turns. Anyway, he's still keeping his P3 in front of Nimts, but with 7 minutes to go, and here comes Nimts. There is a contact. Both of them stay on the track. I think Nimts just abandoned his attack. There was a contact which he caused, and he just gave position back to Riis, but it will definitely be not the final time he will try, and Nimts has run right through several turns now. Does it mean his tires are too hot now? Maybe. And Gudinavicius sets another fastest lap. This time he was 6/10 faster than leader Szubeckis. But Szubeckis still has 2.5 seconds in hand over Gudinavicius, and with only 6 minutes to go, it means 4 laps. Or maybe even 5, so it will be tough there for Shubetskis. But of course, one thing is to catch another car, completely different thing is to overtake him. Now Lana has dropped away from Ries, Nimts and Capet. This is Tavis Pitte now in 11th with his compatriot Uldis Timaks in front of him. They almost touch, exiting turn 3 and into turn 11. Timaks stays on the outside, gives no chance to Pitte. And yeah, that is Mantos Jasuljavicius, who is closing in from behind as well. So Pitte may find him in quite a tough situation, but Urmas Ries is already in very tough situation, but he has been for several laps. Having Jan Nimts on your rear bumper is as tough as the situation gets in this series. Ries once again runs a little bit wide, but it gives him a better acceleration after turn 3. And it also means you can see from Nimts' onboard camera that Ries stays firmly in front. Nimts gains nothing on the straight. And now exiting turn 8 and 9. This time I would say that Nimts had a little bit better exit, but still Ries stays in front. And turn 11 was the place where last time Nimts surprised Ries, not this time. This turn is also banked, so you can see that the lines cars are taking are quite strange. Meanwhile, Lane is here defending against Urbonas. Lane in 6th and Urbonas 7th, with Straupe closing in quickly. And Timaks is still in front of Pitte in P10, but here, 3rd and 4th, Ries and Nimts once again. Nimts is clearly faster in some sections, but crucially, Ries is faster in the sections where he can defend. But here are two leaders, Shubetskis and Kudinavicius, and the cup, which just was 2.5 seconds, has now evaporated completely. Shubetskis has lost out, and Kudinavicius is now just half a second behind him with 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Means 2 laps still to go, so it will be very difficult for Shubetskis. But of course, Kudinavicius must not only catch him, but to overtake as well. And while Shubetskis can risk, I think Kudinavicius will think 3 times before attacking his rival, because he's actually battling for the overall lead. Now Lana has lost his P7 to Urbonas, and Straupe is also with him. And penultimate lap has begun for leader Shubetskis and Kudinavicius, as now Shubetskis is in deep trouble. Exiting turn 3, they bang doors. Is Kudinavicius able to go by? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Now Shubetskis has chance to do something under braking, but he's too far back. The only thing he can do is to hit Kudinavicius from behind. But yes, Kudinavicius is now a leader. Meanwhile, Ries has stayed in front of Nimts. Oh, and there was 2 leaders once again, and Shubetskis was very sideways. Here Straupe is trying to overtake Lane for 7th. He's on the outside, Lane on the inside. is still possible. You can overtake from outside here as well because the turn is banked. They're still side by side. And still side by side. Now Straupe is on the inside for the pond turn, but this means nothing. What a beautiful racing! What a beautiful racing! Now there have been 4 turns side by side, and into the final turn it is Straupe who finally managed to jump Lane and take P7, but it's not over yet. It's not over yet. They are side by side once again into turn 3. And this time I think Straupe has finally completed the move. But this is the place where there is no moves. Rees has been all over, Nims has been all over Rees for the best part of 5 laps already. But Rees has been too fast and making no mistakes, so Nims has been forced to stay in 4th. He now tries once again to the inside of turn 11, but Rees has better acceleration and stays in front. And there is Capet on the background, but this time Rees runs wide a little bit, but on the other hand he is now on the inside for next turn. And it also means that Capet is now together with them and hits Nims from the back, so Nims certainly knows that Capet is with them now. So battle for 3rd. We'll see what happens during the final lap. And you can see that, is it Lane and Straupe once again? Yes, they were, exactly. That duel is still not completed. Timaks bit there the same. Timaks still stayed 10th, and our race is over actually. Our race is over. We had checkered flag and some confusion with our timing, but anyway, Tauras Tunyla is the winner of race 2 in front of Richard Šubetskis and Urmas Rees. Jan Nims stayed 4th, just only 2/10 separated Rees and Nims on the finish line. Risto Capet was 5th, Simormus Urbonas 6th, Janis Straupe 7th, and Paul August Lane 8th, and the gap between those two was just 67 thousandths of the second. And top 10 was completed by Karolis Markiavicius in 9th and Uldis Timaks in 10th. So that was the BMW 325 Cup Race 2 from Porsche Ring. 3rd round of E-BaTCC is now completed for BMW drivers, and it also means that 3rd round is completed. It means also that we are over halftime in that series. But we are not completed for today yet, because we will have 2 more races in few minutes. E-BaTCC Pros will start Cupra Leon competition cars in their series, and the participants there are the real world racers. Some of them started in BMWs as well. But now we will make a short break. Stay with us until the 2 more races with E-BaTCC Pro drivers. Welcome back to E-BaTCC, and what you see is now E-BaTCC Pro Series qualification from Porsche Ring. That is the circuit we are racing today. In real life it's situated near Estonian town of Pärnu, and here is Tuomas Halonen, a Finnish driver who has won two first races during our first two meetings, and he's an overall leader of the series as well. But looking at the timing tower, you can see that he's only second behind Tauras Tunyla. And of course, those who have followed BATCC in real life knows a thing or two about Tunyla. Actually, he is one of the founding fathers of World Sim Series, the environment where we are racing this series, and he's also a handy pedaler in the real world as well, and as you can see even better in the simulator. So Tauras Tunyla is the leader of qualification, and he has almost 6/10 in hand over Tuomas Halonen. Karlis Ozolinš, who was winner of race 2 in Riga, is in third, and Ovidius Latosa currently holds fourth. And when we are looking where is our overall second driver, Estonian Romet Racing, so he's only down to 10th currently. But we should mention, of course, that while Tunyla has been almost 6/10 faster than Halonen, gaps behind Halonen are much narrower. So even racing being 10th, it's not hopeless situation for him. More than that, there is more than 2 minutes still left until the end of qualification, so maybe he's able to improve his position. You see that drivers from third, Ozolinš, to racing in 10th, 8 drivers, they are covered by 6/10 of a second only, so that is very tight situation, and if anybody is able to improve his time, it almost automatically means that he's going to improve his position as well. But this picture comes from Tauras Tunyla onboard camera while he starts another fast lap, going turn 1, 2, and now into turn 3. Now it merges into turn 4, which in turn merges into turn 5, which in turn merges into that short second straight, and here is already turn 6, the first part of that very tricky complex. Turn 7, heavily banked, as is turn 8, and here turn 9, and now the back straight, full throttle through turn 10 as well. Here is the supercars reach their highest top speed and the heaviest braking spot as well. Through bank turn 11, then turn 12, quite a tricky one as well. Then turn 13 is that one which you don't see while driving, and then penultimate turn, very sharp right hand. A slower car is in front of Tunyla. Now the final turn 15, and Tunyla runs a little bit wide. And is he going to improve? No, he's not. But still, it was a good time, and it would have been enough to take a pole position in front of Tuomas Halonen. Meanwhile, Halonen is on the track, but time has now run out, and Halonen is entering the pits, and it means that Tunyla has taken pole position. Although I must say that Halonen improved his time. He was some 6/10 behind Tunyla, now he's only 4. Karlis Ozolinš, who kept third for quite a long time now, he has dropped to 4th. Ovidius Latosa beat him by a mere 7 thousandths of seconds, 0.007 seconds. But Osolin is still on the track. Maybe he's able to improve his time. Just 4 turns to go. No, he's not. Almost half a second behind already. But still, maybe during those last 2 turns. Just 1 turn for Osolin now and onto the main straight. He runs wide, but that's okay. Back onto the tarmac. And Osolin takes third back from Latosa. So front row will be Tauras Tunyla and Tuomas Halonen. Second row, Karis Osolin, Ovidius Latosa. Third, Aurimas Mistautas and Uldis Timaks. Fourth, Kaspars Rudmiesis and Isidorius Paustis. And fifth row, Matiss Mezaks and Romet Racing. So Racing was not able to improve his position. Sixth row will be Mantas Juljavicius and Richard Shubetskis. And seventh row, Tautvidas Ansuljavicius and Janis Hans. Actually, Hans didn't set the lap time at all, but hopefully he will start the race. Anyway, 14 cars should be at start, and we have about 3 minutes until the lights will go off. There is a few minutes of waiting time, actually 2 minutes of waiting time, and then 2 minutes grid time. Talking about the standings for BATCC Pros, Tuomas Halonen currently has 140 points, and it is 30 points more than second placed Romet Racing with 110. Then third place currently belongs to Karlis Osolin with 105 points. Both Racing and Osolin have managed to win 1 race apiece. Fourth is currently Aurimas Mistautas, 91 points, so he's not that far back from both Racing and Osolin. Fifth is Matiss Mezaks, and sixth Nikolai Zhuravlev, who is not starting today, and so on and so on. Now the final preparations for race 1 of E-BaTCC Pro drivers are over. Cars are already standing on the grid. Tunyla Halonen in the front row. And looking at the gap between Tunyla and Halonen in the qualification during their fastest lap, it was about 4/10 of a second. It is very much possible that if Tunyla makes a good start, he may be able to just run away from Halonen. And Halonen in turn was much faster than third placed Karlis Osolin and fourth Ovidius Latosa. So we will see. Just under 1 minute to go until the race 1 for E-BaTCC Pros will be started. All drivers running Cupra Leon competition cars, which are actually specification wise quite close to TCRs, but they are not TCRs. Calm before the storm. And here we go. Few seconds to the lights. 2, 3, 4. And here we go. And top 3 had very good starts. Meanwhile, fourth place Ovidius Latosa almost stalled his car, and this was Osolin who tried to overtake Halonen into turn 1. Actually, he managed to do it, but in process they both lost some time to leader Tunyla, and now Halonen is already attacked by Aurimas Mistautas for third. Osolins now is second, but until now Halonen has kept his third place, but exiting turn 8 and 9, yes, Halonen stays in front of Mistautas, and then there comes Timaks, and Rudmies is behind him. There is always problem with those white cars, plain white cars. Timaks is that one who is trying to take outside line through turn 11 to overtake Mistautas, but Mistautas stays in front. Stays in front still out of turn 11, turn 12, 13, and now Timaks was a little bit sideways. So Mistautas could keep his P4. And there is very tight battle behind them. Quite surprisingly, Tunyla has not run away from Osolins, at least during the opening lap. And this is Mistautas very sideways, colliding with several cars and losing even more positions. And of course, if someone drops the ball, somebody picks it up, and this time it was Uldis Timaks, who is now fourth, Ovidus Latosa fifth, Matiss Mezaks sixth, Kaspars Rudmies is seventh, and Romet Reisin also gained one more position. He is now eighth, starting from 10th. This is Matiss Mezaks going very fast into turn 11 and not gaining but losing at least one position, and this is Romet Reisin now attacking Mezaks. Mezaks stays in front, but for how long? Reisin is very serious in his attacks, and you can see that starting from Timaks in P4, the gaps behind him are all less than 1 second. Meanwhile, Tauras Tunyla has now completed 2 laps and is more than 2 seconds in front of Osolins, but Halonen has caught Osolins, and this is Reisin who almost lost his P8 to Jasiljavicius. Yeah, side by side, or that, not side by side, but there was certainly a little overlap on the straight. Reisin meanwhile stays in front. Tunyla, I would think, will have no problems more during this race. 2 seconds in front of Osolins, who must look into his mirrors and to see that Halonen's car is growing bigger and bigger with every lap. Of course, Osolins is no slouch. He has won one race already. Although this was a reversed grid race, but anyway, he managed to resist to Halonen's attacks. That time maybe he's able to do the same, but this was Matiss Mezaks running wide out of the final turn, and it means that Romet Reisin is going by, but Mezaks tries to fight back and goes very wide out of turn 3 as well, and it means that Reisin is now firmly established himself into P7, while Mezaks must look behind to see Jasiljavicius attacking him. And here is view from the car of Mantas Jasiljavicius. He is currently P9. Matiss Mezaks is just in front of him, and a few car lengths further in front is Romet Reisin. And Mezaks tries once again into turn 11. They have some contact. Reisin was very slow there, and here Mezaks does again the same mistake, too fast into the corner, and Reisin sails by once again into P7, and Mezaks and Jasiljavicius are now side by side going into final turn. This time Mezaks stays in front but runs wide again and again. This time Jasilevicius thought better of this and didn't start to attack his rival. Those two, Mistautas and Hans, are battling their own battle, and Isidorus Paustis is also involved in that. So 6 cars are almost in one long train. Meanwhile, leader Tauras Tunyla has nobody in front of him, and he barely sees those two following him. But here, Tuomas Halonen is now all over Karlis Ozolinš. Ozolinš made quite a forceful maneuver into turn 1 after the start and took second place away from Halonen, but here Halonen took P2 back, but can he keep it? Yes, he can. He blocked Ozolinš now very cleverly. Ozolinš tried to switch back through final turn, but Halonen put his car exactly onto the line which Ozolinš hoped to use. So Halonen is now second, Ozolinš third, and then there is 2.5 seconds of empty tarmac. Then Uldis Timaks and Ovidius Latosa, which here they are battling for P4, and Latosa went by into the complex, and they have got a company as Kaspar Rudmiesis is also now with Timaks. But Halonen is going to lose his P2 to Ozolinš. No, he's not. At least through turn 11 this time. But it's quite interesting to see that while Halonen was able to catch Ozolinš quite quickly, he has not been able to left him down after taking P2 from the Latvian. Behind them there is a trio, Latosa, Timaks and Rudmiesis. Then there is 4 or even 5 cars in close succession with Reisin, Jasilevicius, Mistautas, Mezaks and Paustis, with Janis Hans dropped back a little bit. But Ozolinš is still keeping Halonen honest. While it really seemed that while once Halonen will catch Ozolinš and overtake him, it will be all plain sailing for him. But that has not happened. You can see how aggressively Ozolinš is entering turn 11. It is actually a banked turn, so you can really go in fast there. And it is certainly a place where Halonen is losing time every lap. And thanks to it, Ozolinš has managed to keep the pace of Halonen, while in the other parts of the track Halonen is generally a little bit faster. And here he lets door open for Ozolinš into turn 3, and Ozolinš goes to the inside. Somehow they didn't collide, and even more strange is that Halonen kept his P2. Certainly Ozolinš has been very decisive with his maneuvers. He's just lacking the pace a little bit. But looking at the background, Latosa now in 4th is a long way behind those two, so Ozolinš can keep attacking Halonen. There is no danger from behind, at least for now. Pace-wise, Halonen and Ozolinš are much faster than Latosa, Timaks, Rudmiesis, and Rudmiesis And now finally Racing, who is 7th, has managed to shake off all his closest pursuers. He's firmly in 7th, but the bad news for him, while those two, Mistautas and Jasuljavičius, are disputing positions 8th and 9th, and Mistautas is in front of Jasuljavičius now, having lost his good starting position after collision, trying to fight back. But for him, bad news. As for Racing, is that the next car in front is more than 3 seconds away. Meanwhile, Uldis Timaks in 5th, and Kaspars Rudmies is just behind him. Two Latvians fighting for 5th and 6th. Uldis Timaks is perhaps the most versatile racing driver in Baltics. He has driven, I don't know, name it, which has 4 wheels, and Uldis Timaks has driven it. He has represented Latvia in Rotax karting world finals, driven front wheel drive, rear wheel drive cars, legend cars, whatever. But this is leader Tauras Tunyla, and only these two are second and third place drivers, Tuomas Halonen and Karlis Ozolinš. Halonen is almost 9 seconds behind Tunyla now, and it looks like Ozolinš has now dropped away from Halonen's wake. Even if the gap is less than 1 second. But perhaps Halonen has now stretched his legs and left Ozolinš back. On the other side, Ozolinš has nothing to fear because Ovidius Latosa in 4th is still 3 seconds behind him. So the only potential, just potential battle. No, it's physical battle here. Kaspars Rudmies is now attacking Uldis Timaks for 5th. They have been together for several laps now, and Rudmies certainly knows now where Timaks is faster than him and where Timaks has some weaker places. Let's see. But I would say that this overtaking maneuver is looming now. Timaks goes a little bit wide, but not too wide. That was not a real chance for Rudmies. Rudmies has been very conservative. More than 6 minutes still to go. But of course, if he studies his rival quite thoroughly, maybe we will see overtaking during the final few laps. 6 minutes for those cars means at least 4 laps. Depends on where our leader is currently. He has completed 10 laps, and now you can see that the lead over Tuomas Halonen is more than 10 seconds. And now Rudmies makes a little mistake into pond turn, but it was just a little mistake. Timaks maybe won 1 or 2 or 3 tenths over him, but Romet Racing is certainly closing in from behind. Although even 2.2 seconds and only 5 minutes to go, it is quite a lot for Racing to catch those two Latvians in front of him, and it will be even more difficult to overtake him. Meanwhile, the battle for second and third is far from over, because Tuomas Halonen, a few laps ago, it seemed that he has finally found a pace which will bring him away from the attention of Karlis Ozolinš, but that has not happened. Ozolinš has stayed with him, and even close the gap. Okay, there is no big difference if the gap is 7/10 or 8 or 9 or even 1 second. But more or less the pace of Halonen and Osolins is the same. One of them is faster in some sections of the track, another one is faster in another sections. So the gap is not changing much. And that is Osolins car number 88 and Halonen number 115, as his Black Rose team car is in Baltic Endurance Series. Halonen uses the same number here in virtual E-BaTCC. So what is Racing doing behind Mezaks and Timaks? Actually nothing, he's closing in little by little. And here Osolins just keeps the gap, not able to close in for an attack, and Halonen not able to pull away. Janis Hans and his Tauras Tunyla. Hans in that bright violet car in front of Tunyla. Hans is currently 10th, and it's very important position because 10th in race 1 will take pole position in race 2, and as it stands, after that overtaking maneuver, Tauras Tunyla is 10th, and if checked flag would be out now, then Tunyla would start from pole position. Was 2.5 minutes to go, so there may happen some changes, but for this man, Tauras Tunyla, I don't think anything is going to change, although Tunyla just ran wide in turn 11, but you see what his advantage over second place Tuomas Halonen is. 12 seconds, almost 12 seconds. Okay, Tunyla lost out a little bit with that almost off. But interestingly, Osolins is keeping Halonen's pace. And with less than 2 minutes to go, it means 2 more laps. I would assume that they stay together until the checkered flag. But Latosa, Timaks, Rudmies is racing. Now they are separated by quite a large margins there. No direct battles there. Timaks, we didn't see it, but has managed to shake off Rudmies. And Racing, on the other hand, is closing in. And Timaks has also done some very fast laps. So Uldis Timaks, who is currently 5th, is closing into 4th place, Ovidius Latosa. But with only 1 minute to go, which effectively means 1.5 laps, it will be very difficult for Uldis Timaks to fight back those 1.2 seconds. Meanwhile, leader Tauras Tunyla is going to start his final lap in few seconds. He's on the main straight now out of turn 15 for the penultimate time, and final lap has begun for leader Tauras Tunyla. Tuomas Halonen is still 12 seconds arrears, with Carlos Osolins just 6/10 behind him, and it may become interesting during the final lap. Halonen must be very careful, not too conservative, but of course he is going to keep his points lead whatever happens, even if Osolins somehow manages to overtake him, then Halonen will stay a points leader, and gaps behind them are rather big and no direct battles there here. So P2 and P3 3, who is going to be second, who is going to be third? Is it Tuomas Halonen, the points leader, or Karlis Ozolinš, who has won one race and is third in point standings? Meanwhile, Tauras Tunyla is crossing the finish line and is the race 1 winner for E-BaTCC Pro Series at Porsche Ring. Halonen and Ozolinš exit the final turn, and Ozolinš will be third, Halonen second in front of him. Fourth place goes to Ovidius Latosa with Uldis Timaks just a second behind him. Sixth will be Kaspar Rudbiesis, seventh Promet Racing, eighth Aurimas Mistautas, ninth Mantas Jasuljevicius, and 10th, that all-important 10th, who takes a pole position for race 2 is Isitorius Paukštis. Janis Hans was 11th, Matiss Mezaks 12th, Tautvidas Antsiuljavicius is crossing finish line in 13th, and as I can see from our timing screen, Richard Shubetskis has retired. So that was race 1 for E-BaTCC Pro Series. Now a few minutes of break, and then we will start race 2. Stay with us. Welcome back to the second race of E-BaTCC Pro Races from Porsche Ring, also known as Auto 24 Ring in the past and Outer Ring. Everything is set for race 2. Cars are already standing on the grid. Isidorius Paukštis will start from the pole position. He was 10th in race 1, and it will be interesting to see what the race 1 winner Tauras Tunyla is able to do starting from 10th. His winning margin in race 1 over series points leader Tuomas Halonen was more than 12 seconds. So basically he was almost a second per lap faster than Halonen. Of course, Halonen was involved in a battle for second and third, who is Latvian driver Karlis Ozoliņš, and of course he couldn't show his pure pace. But we will see. That was race 1. Now it's race 2. Reversed grid for top 10, and lights will be go on. And here we go for race 2. Paukštis on the right hand side in that black car stays in front, entering turn 2 and 3. But for how long? He's on the inside, has better acceleration, and keeps his lead in front of Mantas Jasulavičius. Somebody is running wide, and it was perhaps Uldis Timaks. 5th from race 1, so first 2 Paukštis Jasulavičius, Uldis Mistautas, and racing. Oh, and Paukštis makes a mistake in complex and loses out, so we have new leader Mantas Jasulavičius in front of Aurimas Mistautas and Romet Reisin. Where is Tauras Tunyla? He's only 8th. Oh, only 8th. It means that he has gained 2 positions in the space of half a lap. Not bad at all. And top 8 cars are all together. And this is Romet Reisin who goes on to the inside of Aurimas Mistautas. But it perhaps means that he's going to lose his P3 to Kaspar Rudmiers. No, he falls back, and we have another leader. Third leader during the first lap, and this is Aurimas Mistautas, who is going to lead after lap 1 in front of Mantas Jasulavičius and Romet Reisin, but it's far from over. Completely opposite, and this time it was Mistautas who ran wide, and it means that Reisin takes second behind Mistautas, and Jasulavičius has fought back as well. So top 7 or 8 are all together, and this is Tunyla who makes very good move in the complex. He jumps straight from 7th to 5th with one go, and it shows how well he knows this track, not only in simulator but in real life as well. And now Karlis Ozoliņš once again shows his trademark late braking maneuver into turn 11, but this time he didn't succeed. And you know what is happening now? Tauras Tunyla did not do anything but went to third, who is going to lose it after a contact. 6 cars are in a big angle here, fighting for their places. Meanwhile, Aurimas Mistautas and Romet Reisin are those 2 in front, and now they have quite an easy life, because third place Mantas Jasulavičius is almost 2 seconds behind Romet Reisin, and this is from Karlis Ozoliņš, and Tunyla has dropped back to 6th while he was third for a few corners, and this time Ozoliņš gives him no chance for overtaking out of turn 8 and 9. Now Ozoliņš simply has no speed, and Tunyla goes very fast into turn 11, but he manages to stay on the track. But also Lynch is now on the inside and takes his P5 back from Tunyla. Tunyla runs wide. Actually, also Lynch a little bit forced him. It was just... Uh-oh. Somebody's perhaps lagging a little bit. Aurimas Mistautas, the leader, has set the fastest lap. And it is of course due to the fact that he has a free ride. Nobody's near him. Romet Racing in second is 1.7 seconds behind. But then there is a battle between four cars: Jasuljavičius, Rudmiesis, Ozolinš and Tunyla. While Tunyla was clearly the fastest of everybody during race one, it's now completely different game to fight back from P10. We saw that Tunyla has gained several places with very wise moves. Wow, and this is Rudmiesis overtaking Ozolinš. That was a fine move. That was a really fine move. And Ozolinš going to lose another positions to Tunyla, and Tunyla now blocks Ozolinš very cleverly. And there is Halonen closing in from behind. So Halonen and Ozolinš are once again together, and there are two other cars who are mixing into that fight as well. Meanwhile, Rudmiesis and Tunyla are disputing fourth position. And now Halonen is in front of Ozolinš once again, and in front of Šubetskis as well. While Rudmiesis is keeping Tunyla behind him. Halonen and Šubetski here had a little contact, and Timaks used it to jump Šubetskis. Ozolinš did the same. And now Tunyla goes into turn 11 to the very sharp line. But on their acceleration, Rudmiesis was much better and took his positions back. But now they are side by side once again. Tunyla is now in front, but Rudmiesis is not giving up yet. And looking to the front, Mantas Jasuljavičius is only 1.7 seconds in front of Tunyla. Meanwhile, leader Aurimas Mistautas has a lead of 2.4 seconds over Romet Racing, who in turn has over 3 seconds in hand over third placed Mantas Jasuljavičius. But we will see when... Actually, I would think that it's only a matter of time when Tunyla will catch Jasuljavičius. Of course, overtaking is a totally different matter. But once Tunyla will be able to jump Jasuljavičius, I'm not sure if Racing can keep his second position. But this is our poleman, Isidorius Paukštis. Actually, his lead didn't last long, but now he's back in 9th and has quite a good pace. And here is Tunyla all over Jasuljavičius going into turn 3. Jasuljavičius is on the outside. Tunyla meanwhile set the fastest lap of the race, and now he's third. And Racing must be now very much worried, although Tunyla is 4 seconds behind him. But what we see in race 1, if Tunyla's car is now more or less in order, we don't know it. But if it is, then I would suggest that Tunyla will catch Racing quite quickly. He was almost a second per lap faster in race 1 than anyone else. So the pace for him should be not a problem. Matiss Mezaks loses his 11th place to Polyvidius Latosa here, but goes on the inside into turn 11 and retaliates. Uldis Timaks stays with them as well, and perhaps Timaks is just looking if those two become too hot in front of him, and now it happened. They run wide and Timaks takes his hat off, says thank you Paldies to those two, and here he go. Here he goes, but it's not that easy. There was contact and Mezaks on the background went into turn 3 very hot. So Timaks and Latosa are continuing their battle. Timaks is now in front. He's covering his line into turn 6 and stays in front. Now the important thing is to have a good exit out of turn 8, which Timaks had. Meanwhile, Latosa has Richard Strubetskis behind him. So what is happening in front of them? Halonen is now 6th and trying to overtake Rudmiezis, which he does. Actually muscled by in quite a forceful move. But past he went, and Tunyla has set another fastest lap, 17.1. And it's a serious lap time already because he was 1.3 seconds faster per one lap than Romet Racing in front of him. So the gap, which was 4 seconds just 2 laps ago, has now dropped to 1.4. And Racing, of course, knows that Tunyla is coming in very fast from behind. And with 8 minutes and 40 seconds to go, I think Racing must know that it will be very difficult to keep Tunyla behind him for the next for all those laps remaining until the checkered flag, and maybe Tunyla will be able to catch even Mistautas. Basically, Tunyla and Racing are now together already on the main straight, while Tuomas Halonen in 5th has caught Matas Jasuljavicius in front of him. So Tunyla is in this car and Racing is in that car in front of him. Non-existing gap already. So let's see where, it's not if, but where and how Tunyla jumps Racing. There is no doubt about the fact itself. I've seen very different overtaking maneuvers from Tunyla's side. I think under braking into turn 11 will happen in a few seconds, and exactly this happened. Now Tauras Tunyla is 2nd, but Romet Racing hit him from behind. I think it was not deliberately, just he had so much better acceleration while Tunyla's line was compromised out of turn 11. But this is battle between 4 drivers for P4, 5, 6 and 7, and Tuomas Halonen is on the go. He goes on the inside of Matas Jasuljavicius unsuccessfully. Jasuljavicius stays in front, but this puts Halonen under attack of Osolins and Rudmiezis. All 4 cars still together, but now Halonen Halonen is in much better position, although Jasilevicius is still in front of him, entering the complex. He's getting better exit. Jasilevicius had better exit than Halonen, but not that better. Is Halonen going to try and outbreak his Lithuanian rival? Yes, he is, from the outside. And once again, it did not have any effect on Lithuanian. Meanwhile, Halonen stays outside for turn 11, and now he's going to lose, or is it? Yeah, now Jasilevicius is running wide through turn 11. Halonen goes by, but in the process loses one more place to Ozolins. So Ozolins and Halonen will continue the battle they had in race 1. But as it stands, Halonen must defend himself against Rudmiesis and Jasilevicius. It's not that easy, having attention for 2 cars from behind and trying to overtake 1 car in front. It's one of the worst situations you can have on the racing track. Meanwhile, Tauras Tunyla has almost caught leader Aurimas Mistautas. The gap is just 1 second with less than 5 minutes to go, and now there is really no doubt that Tunyla is going to catch his compatriot, and I would say 97.6% probability that he will overtake Mistautas as well and take 2 victories from 2 races. So let's follow how it pans out. 12 laps will be completed. Actually, now they are completed, and comparing lap times, you see Tunyla was almost a second faster than Mistautas in front of him. And more than that, looking the maneuvers Tunyla has performed, his car control, or should I say simulator control, is so much better that it will be really difficult for Mistautas to resist his compatriots' maneuvers. Let's see. I will bet on turn 11 if Tunyla manages to get close enough. Now he's maybe a little bit too far back, yes. But still he closes in through that turn and shows himself once more. Now there, turn 14 is another possibility, but Mistautas covers the inside, giving no chance to Tunyla. Tunyla shows himself on every turn, and now is it this the chance Tunyla was waiting for? Mistautas ran a little bit wide, giving a little bit room for Tunyla, but Tunyla thinks it's better not to risk here. And more than that, Mistautas runs a little bit wide, they bang doors, and here goes Tunyla. So Tauras Tunyla has taken the lead with 2.5 minutes to go in race 2 as well. So he will be first 2-time winner during one meeting, not only for E-BaTCC Pro Series, but in BMWs as well. Nobody has managed to do that, but this is Kaspar Rudmiesis, who went very wide, not 1 but 3 times, and lost several positions, while our twins from race 1 are back together in race 2, Karlis Ozolins and Tuomas Halonen. This time Ozolins is in front, and Halonen takes quite interesting route over the grass, but loses no speed there. So keeping the pressure on Ozolins. Meanwhile, they are so far back compared to third place Romet Racing, so there is basically no chance to gain any more positions for them. Just trying to stay in front of your closest rival. That is what Osolins is trying to do. And Halonen, on the opposite, is thinking about how to jump that car in front of him. He has still not that much time. The final minute of race 2 is already ticking down. I would assume that cars are now on their penultimate lap. And this was Uldis Timaks, who exited the complex in quite a strange way. And that was a bump which Halonen gave to Osolins, but Osolins stayed in front. Actually, I think Halonen just lifted to not to steal the position from Osolins, otherwise Stewards would have something to do with it. And this is Rudmies is losing 2 positions in one go. And yes, now the time is running out, but the cars, at least top 5 cars, are on their final lap. Tunyla leading, Mistautas second, Racing third, and Osolins versus Halonen duel going on for 4th and 5th. Here they go. And Osolins, who was 3rd overall in point standings before this meeting, is in front of points leader Halonen, while second in point standings Romet Racing is currently 3rd, just in front of them. But it may be that Osolins will jump Racing in point standings. Meanwhile, Halonen stays in front, there is no doubt about it. But Tauras Tunyla, the leader, is now on the finish straight. And there is checkered flag for him, so Tauras Tunyla has won 2 times in a row. Aurimas Mistautas takes 2nd and Romet Racing 3rd place. Karlis Osolins stays in 4th, Tuomas Halonen 5th. Then 3 cars in a row. Mantas Jazulavicius will be 6th, Isidorus Pauktis 7th, Richard Shubetskis 8th. Ovidius Latosa 9th and Kaspars Rudmies is 10th. Fastest lap, as you saw, was driven by Tauras Tunyla, 1:17.135, and it was some 6/10 faster than anybody else managed to do. So here we go. Round 3 of E-BaTCC Simulator Series is over. The next round, round 4, will happen in exactly 1 week time, next Thursday at 8 o'clock of Eastern European time. And the site for round 4 will be Lithuanian track near Kaunas, Nemuno Žydas. Today's events were brought to you by Toomas Vabamäe. Have a good evening and see you next time. Goodbye.